As Obi-Wan Kenobi once said, hello there, and welcome to ForceCenter Presents Figure Fights, the show where we ask which Star Wars character would win in a fight, but not the actual character, instead, a specific action figure of that character. I'm Joseph Scrimshaw.
And I'm Ken Knapsack.
And I'm Jennifer Landa.
Oh, I'm so happy to be back here with both of you. I'm excited for the fight, but I'm equally excited to see what you think of these action figures. Jennifer doesn't actually know these figures. They're going to be a total surprise, and I can't wait to see. Do you have any dreams? Do you have any hopes, Jennifer?
I'm such a control freak, so this is hard for me, but I'm trying to let go like a Jedi.
I understand. Maybe we could do a Force Center show called Let Go, and we could all just take turns surprising one another, and so we could all work on our control tendencies.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. We shall see. I can't wait.
Excellent. Well, let's get into it then. Our matchup today is Tebow versus Senator Palpatine.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
I knew we needed to get an Ewok and Sheev early in our figure fights run, and I figured, why not just put them together? We love to discuss the history of these figures, our history with these figures. So, Ken, I'm actually going to start with you. We'll build up to Jennifer's Ewok reveals. But did you ever own or want to own the Tebow action figure?
So I do own a Tebow, and I'm looking off camera, as I often do in my set. I think I have the Kenner version. That was a gift, a birthday gift / housewarming gift from our friend Jeff May, comic, who showed up, said, hey, you want this? Because I was getting rid of it. It was such a gift, but I was literally excited. It was Tebow, and it was the Kenner thing. But this version, I never owned this version, and I think it's going to move to the top of a eBay watch list for me.
Yeah, the show is not going to be good for our eBay watch lists at all. But you have the original Kenner Tebow, the classic Tebow.
I do. It's buried beneath a stack of pictures from the smokehouse. Otherwise, I'd run and bring it over. But
yeah, and I myself have the classic Tebow from back in the day. Don't have the package. Probably don't even have all of Tebow's weaponry, but I have the original Tebow. I do not have this beautiful Saga collection Tebow that has so many accessories and so much emotion. Jennifer, have you ever owned this Tebow or any Tebow?
I have had 0 Tebows in my life, and I need more. I have Ewok the micro machine, tiny little figures. I have a Forces of Destiny, flocked Ewok, a Wicket. But this is like my white whale. I have always wanted. I don't think I've ever owned any original Ewok figures. Oh,
wow.
Considering you're the reason I appreciate Ewoks a lot more, in fact, love them. It started with your love of Ewoks. That's shocking to me.
I know. My cousin had all the figures and he never let me have any.
Jennifer, when is your birthday?
You mean the year? I'm not going to joke.
No, you're the date.
September 30th.
September 30th. Okay.
Yeah.
I took out a pen. I don't have any paper. I'm going to make a mental note with this pen. September 30th. Oh. If anybody wants to get Jennifer some Ewoks action figures, because that's just absurd. It's absurd. It is such a gorgeous Tebow. And one of the many reasons that I love talking about Star Wars action figures is we just auto-generate weird phrases. Jennifer, when you said, I have 0 Tebows, it sounded like a really positive medical report. Like, well, congratulations. I'm glad. Nobody wants a Tebow.
Yeah, no Tebows in my system.
Tebow system free. Absolutely great.
I like that. You could translate it to like, I have no Tebows to give. Like it's a swear word. Like I have no Tebows left to give.
Oh, yeah. I love it.
There's a great power to Tebow. But perhaps even more powerful, that's what we're here to find out, is the action figure of Senator Palpatine. Ken, did you ever own or want to own the Senator Palpatine action figure?
It was a cold night in February of 1999, I do believe, where I was waiting until midnight at Toys R Us in Porter Ranch, California. I don't know if Leo DiCaprio was at that one, but we know he was at a late midnight opening buying Star Wars figures. And this was one of the figures I was hoping to get. We, of course, knew probably what the secret was. There were some kids who didn't know that this nice, warm, kind politician would become who he always was, right? But I was excited to get the Emperor in this form. I waited. It was on my list, and I can't remember if I got it. I do own this figure eventually, but on that night, I think I got more Chancellor Valorums than I did get Palpatine.
You went in with Palpatine in your heart and you came out with Valorum in your hand. Is that that's the story? It's a beautiful story. And how about you, Jennifer? Did you own this Palpatine? Did you go action figure crazy in 99 for the Phantom Menace?
I went kind of, I mean, not crazy, but I had a Jar Jar, I got a Padme, I got a battle droid, but I did not get a Palpatine. It's really cool packaging. Now I think it would be fun to have it. Back then, I'm sure I was like, what? Why do I want a Senator Palpatine? I don't want that. So, but yeah, I did have some action figures from that collection.
Yeah, I didn't go to the midnight opening. I was very excited to hunt them, but I wanted the Jedi. You know, I had all the different versions of Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan and the different versions of Maul and the random Jedi who were on the council for one scene. I didn't care. And then I was like, it's really cool that unlike, you know, the original trilogy where they slowly released all the background characters, Phantom Menace was so quickly like, here's everybody. Let's go for it. And I remember being kind of amused of like, I'm really into Star Wars, but at that point in my life, it's like, I kind of want the ones who are going to fight, the cool ones. And it's like, these are a lot of business people. There's a lot of just office management action figures out here. So even though it was the Emperor, the future Emperor, I just wasn't excited about it back in the day. And then I had a moment, I think it was like last year, our mutual friend, Ken Plume, has a great action figure show on YouTube, Force 5, just posted it. And I just had one of those, like, it was one of those, like, look in the mirror and like, self, why don't you own this action figure? You love this character. You love the absurdity of it, that it exists. Get yourself that Senator Palpatine. And I went on the internet and got him immediately. So I do own him. And what I've come to particularly love about him, Ken, if you can throw him back up again, is just the color of the robe. He looks like a giant evil blueberry, and I love it.
He's Veruca Salt gone mad with more power. Yes.
Right.
He is. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about our feelings, our history with these figures. Now let's get into the actual stats. Let's talk about the facts from Tebow. These come to us from the great website galacticfigures.com. This particular Tebow is from the Star Wars Saga series. His scale is 3.75. His year is 2002. His joint count, 7. What are those joint details? Well, 1 swivel neck, 2 swivel shoulders, 2 swivel wrists, and 2 swivel hips. Swivel wrists, I predict, are going to make a big difference, right, Jennifer?
Oh, that right there. That clinches it for me.
His accessory details are 1 spear, 1 headdress, 1 strap with horn. He is ready for a night on the town. And 1 strap with knife.
A horn and a knife. Ready for battle.
2 strap figure, ready for a night out on Hollywood Boulevard with a horn and a knife. The town belongs to Tebow.
Can I get a little behind the scenes faux pas? When I was putting this together, I was copy and pasting from a script into this, right? And so I mixed them up, and I had the Palpatine picture up, and I was like just looking up, and I was like, Palpatine has a spear and a horn? I was like, oh, I just correct that, reverse it.
It's a very rare Palpatine where they accidentally packaged him with Tebow's accessories. Very weird. Very weird. GalacticFigures.com also always has a little bit of a text review of the figures. We're presenting the opinions of GalacticFigures.com. We love action figure opinions. Here's what they have to say. The spear fits perfectly into both hands. The headdress, the strap with the knife, and the strap with the horn are tricky to get off the figure because they fit very tightly around the head body. The figure is painted and sculpted nicely. Tebow stands very steady without a stand.
Look at that. That's a warrior.
That is a strong stance.
That's a Tebow warrior right there.
That is a Tebow warrior. I can't wait to talk about Tebow's face. But first, some facts about Senator Palpatine. The toy line is the Episode 1 collection, scale 3.75, released in 1999, joint count 6, one behind Tebow. He has a swivel neck, so he can turn while seducing Anakin to the dark side of the Force. 2 swivel shoulders, 1 swivel waist, 2 swivel hips. It's just hard not to think of him as Elvis. Accessory details: 1 Senate cam droid, 1 clear see-through pole. Amazing.
Yep, there it is.
Yep. So you can imagine that cam droid is floating. Here is the rest of the review from galacticfigures.com. Senator Palpatine stands well on his own without the need of a stand. For $19.99, the head sculpt was done very nicely, but it feels quite outdated compared with sculpting techniques a decade later. Fair enough. The senatorial robes are not removable, but look overall nicely detailed and well painted. The included Senate cam droid looks nice. It can be plugged into the included plastic pole, which can then be plugged into a hole in the ComTech chip. A beautiful photo there where you can see that that whole arrangement. Look at all those things. You plug into other things. Absolutely beautiful. All right, now that we know our feelings, maybe a little bit of our biases, we know the facts from galacticfigures.com, let's figure fight. Now, we're going to take into account their size, their outfits, their accessories, who knows what else, the looks on their faces. Who do we feel win this fight? Because there's an Ewok in the battle. Jennifer, I'm going to start with you.
I mean, come on. Like this, to me, this is not a fair fight. First of all, the fact that he has so many accessories is a huge advantage. Now, normally accessories can sometimes be a hindrance because they get lost or they get caught, but no, those swivel wrists are everything because he's not just going to go with a spear like this. He can go like this, right? Oh, the possibilities are endless. And the great thing is he also has dramatic flair because you can do the little horn before you do the fight.
Right. He can use the horn to announce, here come my spinning swivel wrists with just baton level skills, but with a spear and a knife. Just 2 blades spinning, right?
That's right. Yes, exactly. Now, did you say that the hood was also removable?
Yeah.
Oh, that's just, have you ever seen an Ewok without the hood? They look terrifying. So I think the element of surprise is also on his side.
Now, I agree with you that, when you take the hoods off, they look even more like bears.
Yes. Why
is it more terrifying? I mean, like Tebow there is wearing like he's like wearing either an actual skull or a representation of it. His face is staring at us through the mouth of a dead animal. Why is he scarier without that on?
I think Tebow without this headdress would look like Archie Bunker. I don't know if he'd be as terrified as he is with this on and that growl, that grimace.
Yeah. There's just something about it. There's a reason why you've coined the phrase murder bears, right? They just look ferocious.
Yeah. And plenty of other people have said murder bear as well, so I don't want to take entire galactic credit.
Yes.
But in
our
little world, we all started saying murder bear, and then we're delighted to see that many people agreed with murder bear. And I think actually that phrase is why, to me, Tebow is scarier without his headwear, is because it really does just look like I was going through a national park, and then there was a sentient bear that knew I was there and wanted me dead because it looks so much just like a bear then.
I agree.
All right,
that's
Ken,
my pitch.
Are you all in on Tebow winning this fight through his sheer fearsomeness and swivel wrists, or do you have some points for Palpatine? Where do you go?
He might have an early advantage, just that face alone. We're going to talk about that. I'm sure the weapons at his disposal. And I know it's the Ewok design, but in this photo, he looks like a goth kid with black painted nails. So there's an extra level of emotional torment going on there with him that he's going to carry into this fight. But I mean, again, figure, not the character, right? This wise old man who looks like a blueberry, as you said, who's just documenting everything like an influencer. He's just doing an Instagram reel right here. He's pointing at it doesn't quite look like Ian McDermott to me. It looks like, I don't know, like he's an offensive coordinator for the Arizona Cardinals or something. He's just got a different kind of face. So he's carrying different energy into this fight. which could be used to his advantage. Tebow could be so angry, so out of control, so swiveling those wrists that he'll lose focus.
Oh, that's so beautiful. There's that one shot of Palpatine in Revenge of the Sith when Obi-Wan and Anakin are fighting Count Dooku in the droids, and he's got that let's go, let's fight. That's all I can think about when I think about Palpatine as a sports coach. You make some compelling arguments. Here's where I start out. I'm really heavily in favor of Tebow, even though Palpatine is one of my favorite characters. We're looking at the figures. Tebow's face. Can we see Tebow again, Ken?
Yeah, absolutely.
That face, the choice of the mold, right? We know that the Ewoks can be friendly. They can be ferocious. I'm really influenced, Ken, by your great depiction of Tebow as somebody who shops or works at Hot Topic with those nails. He's got that, but that face, it's not even a frown. It's I haven't killed you yet, but I'm already imagining eating you. It's so vicious. It's so powerful.
He looks as though he's a Hot Topic employee 18 hours into Black Friday, and you've just asked for returns.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, not going to go well. The horn is coming out. If you want to call the manager, the horn comes out. But Palpatine, I think one thing that we should not overlook on this figure is his powerful pointing hand. Which, look, Ewoks do have a vulnerability in this action figure if Tebow has it, and it's the giant eyes. I think there is a deep vulnerability where Palpatine could really poke those eyes. And since Tebow is an action figure, probably can't blink. So those are just open for the Palpatine poke.
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel like,
okay.
Yeah, right. I feel like his essence that he's giving in this action figure is very much like, I don't like your tone, young lady. Like, it's not the Palpatine that we know and love. It's just more of a grumpy older gentleman who's mad that his steak was overcooked. That's kind of what I'm getting.
He's that subtle sexist who uses kiddo terms to downgrade the women around them. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And in terms of action figures themselves, I believe that these Ewoks, they are indestructible. A dog can chew on it. Children can play with it, and they will withstand the test of time. Whereas the Palpatine figures, they're just, although I will say his cape could offer some protection because you can't remove it. That does offer a layer of protection. But if he did not have that cape, I think that the first thing to go would be his droid. That would be the first thing that would be broken by my child.
I got a thought on the droid, but you're saying with even Tebow's cape, Tebow's spear, if he's got it's pinpoint accurate poking, right? That he's got to do. Otherwise, he's hitting that hard vinyl cape that's not moving or coming off.
He's got to get him in the swivel waist in order to really hurt Palpatine, because that's practically blueberry armor, right? That's so big and thick and powerful. But your point is well taken, Jennifer, that Ewoks are among our hardiest of action figures. We don't actually have their weight in our stats, but if we do, the Ewoks are a hard, big chunk of plastic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ken, you had some thoughts on the Senate cam droid. I think that and Palpatine's see-through pole. How can we work that? And how can we work the pole into our fight?
I'm always going to work in the pole. Here's what we got going. I want to say this as sensitively as I can. The Ewoks are a great people, a great Ewoks. I don't call them people. They have a wonderful, powerful culture, a lot of traditions. They helped the galaxy when the galaxy needed the most. They're also not coming. They're not the most technologically advanced. And I want to say that with care and sensitivity. All right. I'm not painting them any kind of way, but the truth is Palpatine brings up a camera. Tebow's not necessarily going to know what to do with that immediately. And I think you might know I need to poke it, but also he has swivel wrists. Those swivel wrists are going to turn the spear sideways. So it's got to be more of a swing versus a poke. The camera can maybe on that pole. He's not going to see the pole. He's going to think it's just this floating orb that's going to freak him out a little bit until he can figure it out. Until they took over an ATSC. They Paplu, who we know is the more drunk Ewok who owes people money, and learned how to take that biker scout, the speeder bike. So I think he can get there. But it's going to hold Tebow back up front.
Yeah, no, and some Ewoks go on to learn technology, quite well, right? We have the slicer, right? Yeah, Peekpa, right?
Yeah,
so
Peekpa.
Jennifer, Ken has said some strong things about the Ewoks. Do you have any response?
I've judged them.
You poked the bear in me. I believe that immediately the Ewok would assess the situation. Tebow would assess the situation with this man who wants his steak cooked a certain way, and he's going to see that security droid immediately as a threat. Immediately, and he's going to smash it to bits. They're always on guard, even when Leia gives Wicket snacks, like, what is this, right? So I think that the Ewok is going to know what to do, and I think it's just no match for that spear. One little, and that pole is gone and no longer usable.
Tebow's going to yell, "Aki ak or whatever, and then poke it and get it out fast. Okay.
That's it.
I like the absolute spirit of this argument because I think it's capturing the sides of these characters that are represented by these action figures. This is the propaganda Palpatine, right? He's got a camera going. He's filming this for the public. He's got his little pointing finger, maybe complaining about his steak, medium rare, maybe giving a little speech, a little lecture. And what I think you're saying, Jennifer, is that this Tebow, who is armed, who is ready, who is aware of his environment, would sense the truth behind Palpatine, would not fall for the propaganda of the camera in the finger point, but instead literally smell the evil. And Palpatine would be mid-speech, and the spear would go for his waist.
Or even just look at the finger is, quite frankly, very vulnerable. The finger would be the first to go. I mean, you can't retract it. It's stuck in that position. So I was going to say, Tebow is going to use his knife. Just chop it right off.
So I know Tebow doesn't have a working mouth there, but you said essentially he'd bite the finger off of Palpatine?
Oh, I love that. Yes.
Chop it off.
Absolutely.
Chop it off.
Chop it off, bite it off. Whatever he's got to do.
I do like one of the things you could both put now. You're countering my argument, and I guess I'll agree with it in a sense of where Tebow is so pure. He's so connected to just the organic nature in the galaxy that he would be one of the early people to discover that Palpatine ain't what he says he is. And that face, look at my face. I'm angry because I'm honest with my emotions. This finger pointing, get the manager here because this is what you call a clean fork kind of energy that he's got going on. You'd see through it.
Yep. I mean, this action figure is molded well because he looks like a friendly senator who just wants to help Naboo, but the Senate's broken. But that pointy little rude finger tells this story. I feel before we wrap up and declare our personal victors, we need to address the horn. Is the strap with the horn that's tight around his ripped little Ewok body, is that going to help Tebow in any way? Jennifer?
That is an obstacle. I will admit, I would probably be fumbling trying to get the horn, but the horn could potentially call other Ewok figures. And that's the battle right there.
And you get a Wicket and a Low Gray and a Chirper running in. My only thing is bringing up this photo again here, the horn, it's strapped down here, right?
Yeah.
That's hard for those figures. That he can't get it up fast enough. He's reaching behind him. He can't. So it'd be enough of delay where Palpatine's finger point of doom could come in and maybe win the day there.
Since they both come with accessories that are about trying to communicate. The camera and the horn. So I almost wish we could have a sub battle between the camera and the horn. Tebow takes the horn off and throws it at the camera. Smash.
There you go. Look, the camera. People are watching, but how far are they away from the scene? That horn travels. Playing Battlefront 2 in the Ewok hunt mode, you blow that horn, stormtroopers know you're around. So that might be the advantage of that horn. You can get to it.
Yeah. All right. We have discussed a lot. Let's see where we're landing. Ken, I'm going to start with you. At the end of the day, which one of these action figures takes the fight?
Just look at that face. Are you going to look at that face, straighten those big, beady eyes and say that you're not winning today? No. I think Palpatine's going to overlook him a little bit. I think all the things we know about Palpatine, the character, flow into the figure. And I think Tebow, it's a Star Wars upset victory here today. I go with Tebow.
It's a very compelling argument. I want Tebow to win, but there's one factor that we haven't really talked about, and that's the Comtech chip. And I think Palpatine's voice coming not out of his mouth, but a base he's standing on. I think Tebow's natural curiosity is an Ewok. I think Tebow might bend over to check it out. And then he's got that knife behind his back. Senator Palpatine does have one grippy hand that can hold accessories. So I think he grabs that knife. And I think he stabs Tebow in the back. It's awful. Terrible. I don't want that to be the story. This is the just tragedy of enjoying Palpatine as a character. I don't want to, but I think he'd sidle up, behind Tebow and kill him with his own knife. I'm so sorry.
You turned her and hooched Tebow. Wow.
No, this is a tragedy of Tebow.
But mine is not the final vote. We have a vote for Tebow. We have a vote for Palpatine. Jennifer, who do you think wins this titanic battle?
I will not allow Palpatine to win, whatever it takes. And I'm going to imagine my 3-year-old or any young child playing with these two figures. You got the Ewok, the chunky Ewok, and you got the Palpatine with his comm chip. And I'm telling you, the comm chip is toast. In the hands of a child, it's just going to be destroyed. So that element is gone. Then you just got the Ewok stomping on Palpatine with the tiny little 2-year-old hands. And that's it. That's the battle. And that's how I envisioned that Palpatine would never return in my scenario.
Jennifer, thank you for taking us back to the true basics of action figures. We talked a lot of fancy thoughts about nature of communication, about swivel wrists, but you've brought us back to the basic. Ewok pound Palpatine. Senator Palpatine's head rolls, right?
That's it.
Hold him up, Anakin. He's pounding my face, Anakin.
I can't hold on. Tebow's pounding my face. Anakin.
Yeah.
And with that, our victor is 2002's Tebow. Fireworks. Tebow is the winner.
There we go.
That was too beautiful to interrupt. I couldn't talk about it.
How long is he going to let me go?
So we don't want to be just about violence. We want to learn something today. Ken, do you think there's any moral to the fight between these two action figures?
Yes, and I do say I'm speaking to a specific portion of the audience. If you're an old man, watch where you're pointing. It can lead to.
That's a very good moral. I almost pointed and said that's a very good moral, but instead I learned. Jennifer, what do you feel is the moral of this episode of Figure Fights?
I think people underestimate cute little creatures. Never underestimate an Ewok.
That is a great moral for Figure Fights and a great moral for Star Wars. Feel free to let us know your pick in the comments in this very low-stakes imaginary battle. Who would win and why? We want to know. Because as Luke Skywalker once said, well, no one was really listening to him. I care. That's it for Figure Fights.
Thanks for watching ForceCenter. To follow us on Twitter, reach out at ForceCenter Pod. We're on Hive Social at ForceCenter. On Instagram, we are at ForceCenter Pod. Our Facebook page is ForceCenter Podcast. The podcast is available in a lot of different spots like Acast, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and more. Just search, you'll find us. Want ForceCenter merch? Go to tpublic.com/user/ForceCenter. Want to support us directly? You can at patreon.com/ForceCenter. For social links for the hosts and guests of ForceCenter, check the links in the description below. That's it for now. We'll see you next time here on ForceCenter.